The next topic, as per the flowchart we are taking up, is secularization. Secularism is a principle of separation between state and religion. Secularization is a social process, it's a social concept, according to which religious thinking, religious institutions, religious practices, they lose their social significance. When the value of religion in the society declines, then it is referred as secularization. ठीक है. How do you get to know that society is getting secularized? Manifestation. If overall religious significance declines, if religious participation declines, if there is more of individualism in the society, if there exists freedom of thought, then it means that kahin na kahin religious significance in the society is declining. We are moving towards secularized society. For example, when you have urbanization, modernization, modern education system, technological advancement, it shows that the society is moving on the path of secularization. ठीक है? अभी we'll discuss more. इतना लिखा सब. Secularization has three dimensions: differentiation, privatization, decline in social significance of religion. Let us say this is my traditional society. Here, religion was not only a matter of culture, but their social, political, economic, every aspect of their life was governed by religion. Which occupation to follow, whom to interact with, what clothes to wear, what food to eat, whom to marry, everything was determined by religion. Secularization says that the sphere of religion is now getting differentiated. No longer your economy, your polity, your society will be governed by religion. Religion is a matter of personal faith. It should be confined to the cultural domain of your life. So that is differentiation. Okay? Which means this is what I mean by differentiation. That religion will be confined to being matter of faith. and it will not be governing my social, political, economic spheres of life. Then we have privatization. Public display of religious expressions would not be allowed. You are free to practice your religion, but within your private space. Your religious symbols, practices should not be explicitly expressed in the public domain. And if both these things happens, differentiation and privatization, it will lead to decline in social significance of religion. यहाँ तक क्लियर हुआ? ठीक? Everybody is understanding what we are talking about? Now, ये question आए इसकी guarantee नहीं, but what can be asked is to what extent Indian society is secularized. So यहाँ पर based on what you have understood, give me examples where you can justify Indian society is secularized and where Indian society is not secularized. So the point of discussion now is let us assume we are secularized. Give me examples. Okay, modern education system. Fine, keep writing for the motion. Education system has become exoteric. Education system has become exoteric. EXO. Exoteric, and content is secular, and content is secular, and content is secular. So yes, we are secularized. और कुछ? Food habits. Okay. ठीक है, तो एक काम करते हैं. Let's put it this way, that society is becoming secular with respect to commensality, with respect to accommodation, with respect to lifestyle. इस तरह से करके कर देते हैं. ठीक है, so write down. Society, especially youth, is becoming secular with respect to commensality, accommodation, we can add marriage also here. Somebody was saying interfaith marriage, so we'll write here with respect to marriage also. So commensality, accommodation, marriage, etc. ठीक है? हाँ, बताओ. Urbanism leading to secularization. हाँ, बिल्कुल, we can write that. There is urbanization which is giving rise to urbanism, anonymity and heterogeneity. Chances of secularization is very high. So you can write urbanization leading to urbanism, leading to urbanism. अभी थोड़ी देर पहले हमने क्या टॉपिक पढ़ा था फर्स्ट क्लास में? सेक्युलरिज्म. सो अडॉप्टिंग सेक्युलरिज्म where politics and sphere are separated. तो कहीं ना कहीं what you are practicing is differentiation, which is nothing but dimension of secularization. So right now, adoption of secularism, where sphere of politics and religion is separated, where sphere of politics and religion is separated. Can we say, हमने कास्ट के टॉपिक में पढ़ा था इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन, industrialization leading to caste neutral job opportunity. That means caste is no longer the basis of occupational division of labor. That means we are moving towards differentiation. सब पढ़ा हुआ है, बस recollect करना है. So write down industrializations leading to caste neutral job opportunities. Industrialization leading to caste neutral job opportunities. Can we say the hold of religion is declining, especially with respect to judicial pronouncements related to non-essential religious practices? Judiciary judgments दे रहा है with respect to non-essential religious practices. That means kahin na kahin it is becoming more and more privatized. Ki there are certain practices, for example, a Church of God versus KKR Majestic Colony case आया था. In that it was observed that offering prayer in the church is essential, but doing that on loudspeaker is not essential. That means judiciary is interfering. So kahin na kahin the significance of religion is declining. So right. Different judicial pronouncements with respect to non-essential religious practices. Non-essential religious practices. We can also add desacralization of marriage. एक तो ये क्वेश्चन ही आ गया था यूपीएससी में, desacralization of marriage. Why? Because significance of religion is declining. So now rituals are not practiced. There is more commodification of marriage. तो कहीं ना कहीं desacralization of marriage. Next. Capitalism has led to consumerism. Capitalism has led to consumerism which also goes against many religious beliefs, Mostly religions talk about minimalism, but we are going for consumerism, which is nothing but an impact of capitalism. Next point, deliberation and discussion on uniform civil code. This itself is a testimony to the fact that religion might be losing the social significance. Deliberation and discussions on uniform civil code. One of the students is saying cultural exchange, the way we dress, both Eastern as well as Western. तो यहाँ पे हम globalization के impact में बात कर सकते हैं, homogenization and hybridization. अभी हमने globalization पढ़ा नहीं है, but if you remember the first lecture, I gave you that flow chart, homogenization, hybridization and revival of local culture. तो उसका homogenization वाला जो point है वो यहाँ लिख सकते हैं. Globalization leading to homogenization of culture. Globalization leading to homogenization of culture. एक पॉइंट और ऐड करते हैं, टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट्स and their application. Technological advancements and their application, for example, medical termination of pregnancy. Many religion doesn't permit medical termination of pregnancy. Assisted reproductive technology. In which, नहीं आप नहीं लिखो, बस assisted reproductive technology. Basically here the process of reproduction is through the assistance. So for example, handling of sperm and eggs outside the normal reproductive body, and then it is being placed in the womb of or in the body of the women. So now reproduction is not natural, it is through the process of assistance. So that may also not be approved by some religion. So all these technological advancements, somewhere deep down the line, the significance of the religion might be declining. But then there is a flip side of the story. Surrogacy is a part of assisted reproductive technology. Next, counter opinion. Prevalence of caste system and caste-based division of labor. Prevalence of caste system and caste-based division of labor. Communal conflicts. Counter reaction to the process of Sanskritization. Counter reaction to the process of Sanskritization. I'm not explaining anything because we have already done these points. Identity politics. Identity politics. Religious revivalism. Religious revivalism. Religious revivalism, जैसे हमने proliferation of sect and cult वगैरह सब पढ़ा है, ठीक है? Next, not recognizing the right to marriage, not recognizing the right to marriage or having a child with respect to third gender. With respect to third gender. Going back to traditions with respect to marriage, birth, death, etc. Did we write somewhere? हमने identity politics लिख लिया है ना? So, do you realize one of the bases of identity politics can be religion also? So, communalization of politics or identity politics, anything can be written. So, if we get a question, can we answer? To what extent Indian society is getting secularized? If yes, then how? If no, then why? So, are the points clear? Okay, write down a question. What is the impact of post-liberal economy? What is the impact of post-liberal economy on ethnic identity and communalism? On ethnic identity and communalism. UPSC question 2023. I'm giving you 5 minutes. We have discussed everything. which is required for this question. What is post-liberal economy? What is post-liberal economy? It refers to deviation from liberal views on market economics and globalization. Then if post-liberal economy is post-LPG or LPG, then what is liberal economy? LPG is liberalization. Post-liberal economy is the reaction to LPG. यहीं दिक्कत कर गए और क्वेश्चन बदल गया. अब आपको सोचना है यार, LPG आए सदियां हो गई, उसका काउंटर रिएक्शन आना शुरू हो चुका है. सो नाउ बाय चांस अगर ऐसा क्वेश्चन आ जाए कि जहां आपको कंफ्यूजन है मेन कॉन्सेप्ट में, सो द सेफर साइड इज राइट बोथ द साइड ऑफ द आर्ग्यूमेंट. क्योंकि अगर आप एक साइड समझ के चलोगे, जैसे somebody has written that communalization or communalism will be diluted, and वो इसका just opposite होगा. You can start with how in the phase of post-LPG it was perceived global identities are emerging. People are transcending the boundaries of their primordial identities. However, in the current context, आप खुद सोचो ना यार कि society का question है, कहीं ना कहीं they are asking you what is happening in the contemporary times. So post-liberal economy मतलब they are rejecting that individualistic view. They are more in favor of reasserting the group identities. और सबसे बड़ी बात, वो क्यों पूछेंगे ethnic identity और communalism पे impact अगर आपको यही लिखना है कि वो dilute हो रहा है. So now it becomes easier to answer. So just be very careful about the keyword which is asked in the question. Post-liberal is basically the reaction to the liberal economy. And reaction says that it is rejecting the liberal views on market economics and globalization. It is not in the favor of globalization. There is a process called deglobalization. There is a culture of protectionism which is emerging. Rather than global identity, people are again going back to their ethnic identities. So it has a significant impact on ethnic identity and communalism. Just now we discussed ethnic identity. It's a shared culture of way of life. It can be based on your language. It can be based on your cultural factors. ठीक है? So ethnic identity में can I incorporate caste-based mobilization? Culture का part हो जाएगा ना? Caste-based mobilization. We can also incorporate strengthening of regional identity. Remember a strong association with the geographical territory. Then language-related identity, and most importantly demand for tribal status. हमने ethnic group की क्या definition करी थी? It consists of people who are united by the ties of common ancestry, common history, common culture. They have sufficient awareness and there is a strong, Michael E. Brown के वो characteristic feature, there is strong attachment to the territory. वो छोड़ो, मैंने आपको last में question क्या दिया था? It is linguistic, regional, rather than religious, which forms the basis of ethno-nationalism. So language हो गया, region हो गया, tribals हो गया, caste हो गया, all that can be incorporated here. मैंने religion यहाँ पे क्यों नहीं डाला? सिर्फ एक reason, क्योंकि उसके लिए अलग से है ना communalism. अगर मैं एक ही heading रखती तो मैं कम्युनलिज्म के लिए यहाँ पे डाल देती, बट आई एम डिवाइडिंग माई आंसर इन 2 parts. One is ethnic identity based and other is communalism. Are these 4 parts clear? But this gives a structure to the answer. Now we will explain everything. हमने demand of OBC status under by dominant caste पढ़ा है, तो कहीं ना कहीं there is caste based assertion which is happening. Why is it happening? Because in post liberal economy, economic disparities are increasing, the jobs are declining, agriculture is in distress, so people are facing crisis in labor market, so they are demanding reservation under OBC status. Have we discussed this topic? Have we discussed that how caste based associations are emerging? So rather than caste identities getting diluted, your caste-based identities are getting reinforced. One of the example is caste-based economic association. Then हमने एक क्लास में शायद मैंने आपको retribalization बताया था. I think on that day we had 2 classes individual. तो उसमें से एक क्लास में मैंने शायद mention किया था that राजवंशी community वाला example. So basically there is a culture of retribalization which is emerging, where people are reclaiming their tribal status. पहले एक time आया था, okay, for those I have not said, retribalization का concept था, there was a community, let us say one particular example दे रही हूँ मैं, राजवंशी community. They carried out a movement in pre-independence period with respect to claiming the Kshatriya status, because they wanted a higher status in the caste hierarchy which was given to them also. But then independence came and special reservation benefits were given to ST community. So now this community is feeling deprived, that first, due to lack of ST status, they cannot take benefits of education, job opportunities and all. Then their right over ancestral land is also getting diluted. They are facing relative deprivation. So now they are reclaiming their ST status. So there is retribalization. पहले क्या होता था? Sanskritization. Now what is happening is desanskritization, and one of the example is reclaiming your tribal status. दूर क्यों जाते हैं? Methi community, they are demanding ST status. That was the major bone of conflict in context of Manipur, because they felt that their culture is getting dominated. They were also against the illegal migration of Kuki community which was happening from Myanmar, and that was the major bone of contention. Now फिर वही logic लगाओ, culture and livelihood. So when there is third-party intervention, the chances of resentment is very high. Is this making sense for everyone? ठीक है. So again, demand of ST status by Methi community or ST status by Rajbanshi community. Then language related, Gorkha land हो गया, मिथिलांचल हो गया, अभी पढ़ा था हमने ये सब. So this is nothing but language related assertion of identity. There are so many languages which are getting endangered. So efforts are being made in order to preserve those endangered languages. कहीं ना कहीं you are asserting your identity based on your language. Then assertion of regional identity. There are so many regional, son of soil issue. Then another issue, हरियाणा के context में, domicile requirement में 75% of the reservation in private jobs. तो ये क्या है? अगर domicile requirement है, that means you are reasserting your regional identity. और ये सब कब हो रहा है? अभी हो रहा है ना? So this is nothing but in post-liberal economy, ethnic identities are getting strengthened. Similarly, with respect to communalism, communal tensions are increasing. Through social media, religious ideas are getting spread. Polarization for political purpose, global participation by various religious organizations. And then you can give multiple examples, जो भी आपको देना है, चाहे identity politics देना है, communal conflict देना है, ठीक है, or you can say, मतलब for example, that selection of candidates on the basis of their religious background, ठीक है, या फिर distribution of tickets on the basis of the religious. So is the question clear for everyone? ठीक है, we'll make this question as the assignment question. See, although you have an idea, but now try to answer the question not in the similar manner. You can have different interpretation to the question, but just keep one thing in mind, what post-liberal economy means, okay? Now, individualistic views on society का मतलब ये हो गया कि that individualism of freedom of thought, that would not be entertained. There has to be a collective perspective with respect to how the society should operate. Basically, more emphasis on norms, more emphasis on collective ethics rather than individual morality. Everybody cannot act as per their own whims and fancies. एक time आया था ना where everyone was acting as per their own whims and fancies. They're having their own matlab assertion about what is right and what is wrong. But of late, again, there is religious revivalism which is taking place. People are actually going back to their traditions. They are actually asserting their identities. एक time आया था बीच में primordial identities का role कम होने लग गया था. देखा जाए तो अब वो ग्लोबल विलेज का कॉन्सेप्ट, ग्लोबल सिटीजनशिप का कॉन्सेप्ट, ग्लोबल आइडेंटिटी का कॉन्सेप्ट, ये सब इमर्ज करने लग गया था. वी वर मूविंग मोर टूवर्ड्स वेस्टर्नाइजेशन ऑफ द कल्चर. बट कहीं ना कहीं आजकल रीअसर्शन होने लग गया है. पहले लोग अपने रिलीजियस जो भी आइडेंटिटीज होते थे उसे एक्सप्लिसिटली डिस्प्ले नहीं करते थे, बट नाउ दे आर टेकिंग प्राइड इन देयर रिलीजन, विच इज एब्सोल्युटली fine. Matlab, there is no harm in that. Till the time you are not indulging into religious chauvinism, till that time even constitution gives you the right to practice, profess and propagate the religion. So now people are taking pride in their religious values. They are trying to reassert their religious identities. So that is what it means. Okay? We'll take the next thing, that is contemporary issues. And within contemporary issues, the first thing is Uniform Civil Code. Contemporary issues, Uniform Civil Code. Just divide the page in two parts, for the motion and against the motion. See, Uniform Civil Code आप polity में अच्छे से पढ़ते हो, under Article 44 of the Constitution. That there will be a common civil code with respect to matters related to personal life and property. So now there are two things. अच्छा, एक चीज़ है, इसमें हम advantages of यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड की बात करते हैं और दूसरी तरफ हम challenges की बात करते हैं. अब टाइम disadvantages का गया. Now uniform civil code will be implemented. We will be only concerned with that in the process of implementation, what can be the possible challenges. So it would be advantages and the challenges. ठीक है? So take 2 minutes and tell me what are the advantages of uniform civil code. Online people, give me nice arguments. 2 minutes सोच के दो, कोई जल्दी नहीं है, ठीक है? अच्छे arguments दो. What are the advantages of uniform civil code? Okay, the judicial burden or the legal burden will reduce due to uniformity in laws. चलो पहला पॉइंट लिख लो. हाँ, स्मूथ लॉ इन्फोर्समेंट. ठीक है. यूनिफॉर्मिटी इन लॉज, यूनिफॉर्मिटी इन लॉज will reduce the legal burden, will reduce the legal burden. In fact, overall administration, somebody is writing, overall administration will also become smoothened because there will not be any ambiguity with respect to interpretation of the laws. So write down. Easy administration due to reduction in ambiguity concerning the interpretation of laws. People have talked about gender equality, women empowerment. So we'll add that point. It will create grounds for women empowerment. It will create grounds for women empowerment. It will reduce the incidences of social conflict. It will reduce the incidences of social conflict, and hence Students are giving us a point, strengthening of unity and integrity. हाँ ठीक है. Peace, harmony. तो हमने लिखा है ना, reduction in social conflict, which in turn will promote unity in diversity, which will promote unity and integrity. इस तरह से लिख लो, which will promote unity and integrity. हाँ ठीक है. वैभव तो specific point आ जाएगा, improve the status of vulnerable sections. It may happen that laws are rational in nature, so it may improve the status of vulnerable sections. It will repeal unequal laws. It will repeal unequal laws. For example, Uttarakhand's UCC bans polygamy, bigamy, nikah halala, child marriage, etc. In fact, once and for all, अगर UCC implement हो जाता है, तो possibility of using it as a tool for vote bank politics will also reduce. So write down. It might reduce, might लगा देते हैं, क्योंकि you never know. It might reduce the possibility. It might reduce the possibility of using uniform civil code as a tool for vote bank politics. As a tool for vote bank politics. निकिता, चंदन, हमने इनकॉर्पोरेट कर लिया बच्चे. हमने कहा ना इट विल रिपील अनइक्वल लॉस. तो आपका पॉइंट है ना, कैन एड्रेस लूपहोल्स इन पर्सनल लॉज. तो वील डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी प्रैक्टिसेस कैन बी रिमूव्ड. सो दिस हैज बीन इनकॉर्पोरेटेड. क्लियर है? ठीक. अब देखो कुछ पॉइंट्स होते हैं जब आप ओवरऑल लिख सकते हो. इट विल प्रमोट सेक्युलरिज्म इन ट्रू सेंस. दिस पॉइंट कैन बी एडेड. ओवरऑल नेशनल इंटीग्रेशन विल बी प्रमोटेड. लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन विल बी इम्प्रूव्ड. वो सारे एक्स्ट्रा पॉइंट्स हैं, वो आप दे सकते हो. दैट्स टोटली योर चॉइस. ठीक है. We'll talk about challenges. हाँ ठीक है, we have incorporated. It goes against the essence of salad bowl theory of multiculturalism. It goes against the essence of salad bowl. It goes against the essence of salad bowl theory of multiculturalism. Second, there is no blueprint. There is no blueprint regarding uniform civil code. Let me just complete the statement. I know Uttarakhand UCC is there, but let me just complete the statement. There is no blueprint regarding uniform civil code which might generate apprehension among minorities, which might generate apprehension among minorities that it is imposition of majoritarian culture. It is imposition of majoritarian culture. इसी का follow up point लिखेंगे. One of the student has also given practical difficulties in implementation. तो follow up point लिखेंगे. Even if the idea is accepted, even if the idea is accepted, it may create challenges. It may create challenges at the level of implementation. It may create challenges at the level of implementation. For example, Uttarakhand's Uttarakhand UCC is criticized with respect to provisions on live-in relationships. With respect to provision on live-in relationship. ब्रैकेट में लिखेंगे, मतलब क्या क्रिटिसिज्म दिया है? It is denial of right to privacy, denial of right to privacy. Act of moral policing. I'll repeat, denial of right to privacy, comma, act of moral policing, comma, bureaucratic burden. ऑलरेडी बहुत बर्डन है, फिर हर थोड़े दिन में रजिस्टर करना कि अब है रिलेशनशिप, अब नहीं है रिलेशनशिप. सो नहीं, मतलब ब्यूरोक्रेटिक बर्डन, कॉमा, it may lead to social stigma and discrimination. It may lead to social stigma and discrimination. Did we understand the point? ठीक है? See, one more thing we need to understand. I'm generally saying this is Uniform Civil Code. Ideally, you should see it from the perspective of equality, justice, empowerment. That is how it should be viewed. But the larger society views it from the perspective of religion. अब मुश्किल क्या है? Politicization of Uniform Civil Code along with lack of emotional intelligence among the people of Indian society. The society is yet not prepared. Is that clear? So right now, challenge में लिखो, politicization of UCC along with lack of emotional intelligence to view Uniform Civil Code from the lens of uniformity, empowerment, justice. I'll repeat, lack of emotional intelligence among the people to view Uniform Civil Code from the lens of uniformity, empowerment, justice, etc. Instead, it will only be viewed from the prism of religious differences. It will only be viewed from the prism of religious differences. Many people have mentioned this regarding tribal culture. So we can say it goes against policy of integration with respect to tribals. Because if this follows, then what you are adhering to is policy of assimilation and not integration. So it threatens the policy of integration with respect to tribals. Can I say it is also a part of cultural lag? Because UCC is related to your personal beliefs and it takes time to change. So write down. There exists a cultural lag. There exists a cultural lag. Hence, acceptance of UCC might take some time. We'll take this point. Feeling of hatred. Okay, so write down. It might create grounds for imposition. It might create grounds for imposition of cultural hegemony, which creates situation for social conflict. Which creates situation for social conflict. In fact, 21st, I'm not talking about 22nd, I'm talking about 21st Law Commission said in past, neither UCC is desirable nor the time is right. So write down. According to 21st Law Commission, UCC is neither necessary nor it is desirable. Neither necessary nor it is desirable. And they gave the reason also. They said, equality within the religious community is required. उन्होंने rationale दिया, equality within the religious community is required rather than between the community. Rather than between the community. Rather than between the community, full stop. The urge to ensure uniformity, might also threaten territorial integrity. The urge to ensure uniformity might also threaten territorial integrity. In fact, they also made a statement that ये जो हम हर बार बोलते हैं, in order to justify uniform civil code, it will lead to women empowerment. So it is said it is over exaggerated. See, Hindu Succession Act has already been, the inheritance rights have been given to the girl child. Even without the passage of Uniform Civil Code, the right to inheritance has been given. But if you look carefully, the society yet not accept the right of women or a girl child with respect to inheritance related to ancestral property. तो लॉ भले ही बन गया हो, पर सोसाइटी में चेंजेस नहीं आए. और लॉ कब बना था? 2005 में. अगले साल तो हो सकता है क्वेश्चन पूछ लें, 20 साल. सो द पॉइंट हियर इज कि उन 20 सालों में भी द ओनरशिप ऑफ विमेन with respect to ancestral property has not increased. Why? Because the mindset of the society is still patriarchal. Is it making sense for everyone? So write down the clause of women empowerment might be an exaggerated vision since guarantee of inheritance rights, since the guarantee of inheritance rights have not resulted in any significant change, concerning ownership of assets, So एक concluding line लिखो. Overall concluding remark. Any decision on uniform civil code should be taken only after popular consensus. Hence, 22nd Law Commission had asked to table UCC on various platforms for 3 Ds. Deliberation, discussion and debate. यही तो टाइम था वो सीमा और सचिन और सीमा हैदर जो लगे हुए थे. इतना इम्पोर्टेंट समय है यार. मतलब इतनी हम कहानियां पढ़ते, समय वापस नहीं आएगा, समय बड़ा बलवान है, ये वो, और कितना समय खोटी करते हैं हम लोग. ये मौका अच्छा था, इस पे डिबेट अच्छा खासा लोगों में जानकारी हो जाती. There are people who are supporting UCC without knowing what is UCC. There are people who are against UCC without knowing what are the problems in UCC. At least informed participation होना बहुत ज़रूरी है democracy में. But anyway, चलो मीडिया किसी और काम में busy है. So is this clear? ठीक है. और मीडिया को क्या ब्लेम कर रहे हैं? उनको TRP इसी सब से मिल रहा है. इसका मतलब है public is also interested in watching this only. Next point that we'll take. एक question लिख लो. UPSC question है. बेटा वन साइज फिट ऑल अप्रोच है ना, तो हमने वो सैलेड बोल थ्योरी वगैरह सब मेंशन किया था ना, तो उसमें आ जाएगा. ठीक है. नहीं तो आप चाहो तो अलग से भी लिख सकते हो. वन साइज फिट ऑल अप्रोच, दैट इज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द चैलेंज. क्वेश्चन लिखो. What challenges does the government face in implementing UCC? What challenges does the government face in implementing UCC? UPSC question, 10 marker. Next that we have to talk about, that would be the last contemporary issue. There was one article some years back in Hindu which talked about doctrine of ERP versus judicio-papism. It said it comes from 2 words, one is judiciary and second is the Pope. So it says over interference of judiciary in religious matter. So over interference of judiciary in religious matter is referred as judicio-papism. In your polity, you might have heard about it. That is essential religious practice. है ना? So it says there are certain rituals or practices within a religion which is integral to the practice of religion. If you don't practice those rituals, then it might go against the core philosophy of the religion. So in order to maintain the core philosophy or the beliefs of the religion, there are certain practices which are very much integrated in the religion, and those practices are known as essential religious practice. ठीक है? The idea is under Article 25 of the Constitution, which says you have the freedom to practice, profess, propagate the religion of your choice, but that right is not absolute right. It is subjected to reasonable restriction, public order, health and morality. ठीक है? So now it says that which aspect would decide. Since it's not an absolute right, that means state has the right to interfere. So now the question arises that to what extent state can interfere and how it can interfere. So it was said that state can intervene if it's not an ERP. State can intervene only on those religious practices which are not essential. And this idea of doctrine of essential religious practice has emerged in Shirur Mutt case 1954. But now the question arises, who will decide whether the practice is essential or not? So Shirur Mutt case mein they observed it is the judiciary which will decide whether the practice is essential or not. And this is the contested issue. Because in many other cases it is perceived as an act of judicio-papism. Is this clear? Okay, I'm not dictating anything, I'm writing everything which I want to say. So keep on writing if there is something you want to write. So judiciary will decide whether a practice is ERP or not. And this idea had emerged in Shirur Mutt case. But in the later cases, it was being challenged also. I'll give you an example because we can explain these things only through example. There is a practice called Santhara practice. जिसे सल्लेखना भी कहते हैं, ठीक है? So you stop consuming food and water till the time your soul doesn't leave your body, ठीक है? So Nikhil Soni had filed a PIL in Rajasthan High Court and he asked for banning Santhara. And High Court also gave the judgment where Santhara was banned, and they gave two reasons. First, they said Santhara is nothing but suicide. And second, they said it is not an essential religious practice. So then this decision of Rajasthan High Court was challenged in Supreme Court, and Supreme Court overturned the judgment. And it said, first, you cannot equate Santhara with suicide because suicide is very impulsive. Santhara is not impulsive. Not everyone from that community can practice Santhara. You have to meet certain criterias if you decide to practice Santhara. You have to be very old, that you are almost on the verge of dying, or you are suffering from any disease which is incurable, or you have completely given up on the materialistic world. Only then you can practice Santhara. So any and everyone cannot practice. So it's not an impulsive decision. And second, it says that how did you decide that it is not an essential religious practice? You should have consulted Jain practitioners. You should have consulted Jain philosophers, their text. Only then you can arrive at a decision, because otherwise it is an act of judicio-papism. So basically, Supreme Court had lifted that ban on Santhara, which was imposed by Rajasthan High Court. And in the later subsequent judgments, we have time and again seen that Supreme Court has intervened in the case only when it is a proven thing that it is not an essential religious practice. For example, when the court talked about banning, it was null and void declare kiya tha instantaneous triple talaq, that is talaq-e-biddat. So then court observed that talaq-e-biddat is considered as a sin in the religious scripture, and something which is considered as a sin cannot be the essential religious practice, hence the state has the right to intervene. Is that very clear? So कुछ examples लिख लो. For example, in Dr. Noor Jahan versus State of Maharashtra case, in Dr. Noor Jahan versus State of Maharashtra case, court observed that exclusion of women, court observed that exclusion of women from Dargah, exclusion of women from Dargah is not an ERP. Exclusion of women from Dargah is not an ERP. Hence, women are permitted to enter Haji Ali. Hence, women are permitted to enter Haji Ali. Second, in Shaira Bano case, Talaq-e-biddat was banned. Talaq-e-biddat was banned. Next, in Church of God versus KKR, नहीं कोलकाता नाइट राइडर्स नहीं है, KKR Majestic Colony case, KKR Majestic Colony case, the court observed that offering prayer is an ERP, but not on loudspeaker. Similarly, with respect to Santhara, Supreme Court lifted the ban and observed that High Court did not take the opinion of Jain practitioners and it is an act of judicio-papism. एक और लेंगे, सबरीमाला. Is everyone aware about Sabrimala issue? Women in the menstrual age group was not allowed to enter the vicinity of the temple. Okay? Now, why am I discussing this is, you will get to know in some time. Just divide the page in two parts. Arguments in favor, arguments against. Sabrimala issue heading डालो. Arguments in favor, arguments against. फेवर एंड अगेंस्ट. और सबरीमाला इशू के सामने ब्रैकेट में लिखना द बैन इज लिफ्टेड. एज इन नाउ women in the menstrual age group can enter the vicinity of the temple. इसको हम डिबेट कर रहे हैं फॉर द मोशन एंड अगेंस्ट द मोशन. नाउ आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू आस्क योर ओपिनियन, सिंपल सा लॉजिक है. It was 5 judges bench where the verdict was given 4:1. I am basically making a reference to the verdict which is given. ठीक है, सो अभी ना आपकी ओपिनियन की जरूरत है ना मेरे ओपिनियन की जरूरत है. वी आर रेफरिंग टू द वर्डिक्ट. सो फॉर द मोशन में लिखो banning the entry is derogatory to the dignity of the women. Banning the entry is derogatory to the dignity of the women. Second, individual rights cannot be at the mercy of the mob. Individual rights cannot be at the mercy of the mob. Third, patriarchy in the religion cannot supersede the right to freedom of religion. Cannot supersede the right to freedom of religion. As in here we are talking about the religious freedom right of the individual. That patriarchy cannot supersede the right to freedom of religion. Next, any ban based on physiological attribute is a manifestation of untouchability under Article 17. Manifestation of untouchability under Article 17. इसी के आगे स्टार बना के लिखेंगे, इसी पॉइंट के आगे. This point was contested, this point या argument was contested by the dissenting judge on the grounds that Article 17 is with respect to caste and not gender. Is with respect to caste and not gender. To which it was replied that our constitution is not a static document. Our constitution is not a static document, but based on doctrine of living tree. Doctrine of living tree. Doctrine of living tree. Matlab, it is not a static document, it is a dynamic document. And as and when society is evolving, the ambit of the provisions of the constitution can also be expanded. Write the flip side. The dissenting judge's argument. Diversity should not be confused with discrimination. Diversity should not be confused with discrimination. Second, prohibition, second point, prohibition was not an act of patriarchy. Prohibition was not an act of patriarchy, but its origin had historical significance. Its origin had historical significance to celebrate the celibate nature of God, brahmacharita. It is perceived that Lord Ayyappa has manifested himself as a celibate in this temple. As a result, out of respect, it was believed that women of the menstrual age was not entering the vicinity of the temple. Okay. Next point. Entertaining PILs, challenging various religious practices can cause damage to the diverse fabric of India. Can cause damage to the diverse fabric of India. Clear? Now, there was a reason why we were discussing these points. So, write down a question. What are the challenges? What are the challenges to our cultural practices? What are the challenges to our cultural practices in the name of secularism? In the name of secularism. Question mark. 10 marker UPSC question. You will give me the answer. You have 5 minutes. Online people, question को समझ के आराम से आंसर दो. UPSC was very clear. It is not asking you to examine, discuss, comment. No. What? Okay. Dilution of essence in religious practices. Religious practices might lose their uniqueness, their diversity, so there might be a loss of that. Okay. In the name of secularism, our multicultural society will be diluted. The disruption of the core values. Okay, we'll take these points. So we'll take these 3 points which they have mentioned. The pressure to conform to secularism, the pressure to conform to secularism might dilute the rich diversity of customs and traditions. Rich diversity of customs and traditions. इसी का follow up point है. It can also lead to loss of cultural identity. Loss of cultural identity. हाँ, we have incorporated that. ठीक है? और कुछ? हाँ, हो सकता है. Yes, absolutely. So the more significance, the role of religion in the life, so it might further aggravate the process of secularization. We can talk about that. It might create a perception in the society that laws have primacy over religious morality. Laws have primacy over religious morality. In fact, yahin pe let's stop. Not only this perception, it might create a perception, especially among religious minorities, that their culture is getting hegemonized. They might feel that it is only the changes have been introduced in our culture, which may not be true, but at least it can create the apprehension. Remember, agar objective reality hogi, तो chances हैं कि fringe element will try to fan the sentiments. So objective reality is there. So might be perceived in a negative manner. So write down. It creates ground for state intervention. It creates ground for state intervention which might be perceived as an act of cultural marginalization by the affected community. Now just hold. एक तो ये हो गया कि हमारा सेक्युलरिज्म कहता है ना प्रिंसिपल डिस्टेंस, स्टेट हैज अ राइट टू इंटरफेयर, सो देयर इज अ फियर इट माइट लीड टू कल्चरल मार्जिनलाइजेशन. देयर इज अनदर फियर, क्योंकि सेक्युलरिज्म में अलाउड है हमारे यहाँ कि स्टेट इंटरवीन कर सकता है. देयर इज अ फियर ऑफ कल्चरल अप्रोप्रिएशन. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, दिस इज XYZ cultural practice of some religion. Now it might be represented in a manner that it is shown to be discriminatory in nature. So there can be misrepresentation of the cultural practice, and because of that misrepresentation, let us say the state is intervening, so that would lead to dilution of the culture. So there is not only fear of cultural marginalization, there is also a fear of cultural appropriation. So write down. Next point. In the name of secularism, there is a risk of cultural appropriation. There is a risk of cultural appropriation where certain cultural practices, Sahil, we have incorporated your point. Certain cultural practices are misrepresented. Certain cultural practices are misrepresented for political gains. This, full stop, this can lead to distortion of This can lead to distortion of original significance of cultural traditions. This can lead to distortion of original significance of cultural traditions. Clear है? Do we realize कि हो सकता है secularism का politicization हो जाए and then selective interference हो, कि कुछ practices में तो आप intervene कर रहे हैं और बहुत ऐसी गलत practices हो रही हैं जिसमें आप intervene नहीं कर रहे हो. That might be a possibility. So write down. Politicization of secularism can result in the selective enforcement of secular policies which can disproportionately affect the religious communities, Clear है? Now just hold. See, online people, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट आ जाएगा सोसाइटी में अगर हम ये पॉइंट लिखते हैं, ठीक है. सेक्युलरिज्म में लीड टू एंजाइटी, फ्रस्ट्रेशन, अगर हम ये पॉइंट लिखते हैं, ठीक है. वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड, क्वेश्चन ये नहीं है कि इसका क्या इम्पैक्ट होगा. क्वेश्चन क्या है? व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस टू द कल्चरल प्रैक्टिसेस इन द नेम ऑफ सेक्युलरिज्म. तो कल्चरल प्रैक्टिसेस पे क्या इम्पैक्ट होगा, दैट वाज सपोज टू बी डिस्कस्ड. सो ओवरऑल पॉइंट सही गलत नहीं है, इट्स जस्ट दैट कि इस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन में ये पॉइंट फिट नहीं होता. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक है. सो विद दिस सेक्युलरिज्म एज अ टॉपिक कम्स टू एन एंड, and whatever previous year questions were asked, more or less we have incorporated all the question. एक क्वेश्चन था सेक्युलरिज्म पे कोई, विच वॉज रिलेटेड टू प्लूरलिज्म, असिमिलेशन एंड टॉलरेंस. एक क्वेश्चन लिखो. हाउ आर सेक्युलरिज्म is based on pluralism, assimilation and tolerance. You wanted to write integration, stick to assimilation. You wanted to write multiculturalism, stick to pluralism, because that is what the question UPSC has asked. ठीक है. बाई चांस मन वो नहीं होता, कभी कभी बिल्कुल ज़मीर गवाही नहीं दे रहा है कि नहीं हमें तो यही लिखना है, तो ऐसे में भी आंसर यही कर दो. बट जैसे सपोज करो आपने असिमिलेशन वाला पॉइंट लिखा, उसके बाद लास्ट लाइन में लिख दो, ऑल्दो इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ इंडियन सोसाइटी द बेटर टर्म टू बी यूज्ड वुड हैव बीन इंटीग्रेशन, और व्हाट वी अबाइड बाय इज द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ इंटीग्रेशन. इस तरह से करके लिख सकते हो, बट राइट द आंसर टू द क्वेश्चन व्हाट इज बीइंग आस्क्ड. ठीक है. So with this, the topic of secularism comes to an end and we will disperse for the day. Second important thing, the conceptual portion of society also comes to an end. In the next lecture, we'll be starting with population associated issues. One lecture I required for population issues. One lecture is for urbanization. One lecture almost, not exactly one lecture, but half a lecture for globalization. So this week, society will come to an end. Next week I'll be taking 2 more lectures and we will finish social justice. ठीक है. श्रेया, यूजुअली क्वेश्चंस में हम काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट देते हैं. इस क्वेश्चन में स्कोप नहीं था क्योंकि व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस पूछा था, ठीक है। एट मैक्स तुम ये कर सकते हो कि तुम जब कंक्लूड कर रही हो तब तुम इस पॉइंट को मेंशन कर दो, that how there are certain practices which might be regressive in nature, and hence secularism or state interference is required. Remember to give progressive voices within every religion and to disagree with certain aspect of religion. तुम बस concluding remark में दे सकती हो, nowhere in the body that should be mentioned, because that's not the demand of the question, ठीक है। And कोई भी doubt या कुछ भी next class वो जस्ट वन ऑब्जर्वेशन, रोज इतनी मेहनत से पढ़ाने पे इतनी शिद्दत से इन्होंने कभी थैंक यू नहीं बोला, जितनी शिद्दत से बेचारे आज थैंक यू बोल रहे हैं क्लास जल्दी खत्म करने के लिए।